What's the good, everyone? Welcome to Beyond the Buzzer. I, of course, am Kyle Nash, a student of the game. It's always fun to talk sport. Glad you've chosen us to talk sport with here tonight. Of course, we're rocking the thing here on I-95 Sports. Check out our friends at Valor. Since Danny's not here, I just got to point upward. See, now Bobby's got to struggle with what I usually do. Remember, think the opposite. I pointed left, but I'm pointing right.
I'm usually behind the scenes, so I'm usually pointing right at it. So,
hey, listen, I'm just showing everybody my versatility about my ability to point. I don't know, but anyways, of course, Danny Thompson on assignment for the moment, handling business elsewhere and everywhere, doing things and moving and shaking and making things happen. Of course, he'll be back on the show soon. Lot going on tonight here. Of course, the NBA playoffs are underway. That ridiculous play-in foolishness has begun, but I'll say this, it certainly did a lot of business. I don't know if you saw it, Bobby, but the play-in game itself had a ridiculously high, I think it's like a 5.6 million viewer number. The biggest of its kind, I forget what the determinant was. Like, I don't think it was the biggest single playoff game. I doubt that's possible, but it was certainly a pretty big turnout. And if anybody's shocked, you shouldn't be. It was LeBron and Steph Curry, but we'll get into that later. If assuming we can get a hold of our good friend Hunter Metnick to jump in, especially as a Warriors fan, I'm very curious on his take on a lot of things there. And of course, we'll talk more about the NBA playoffs in general. I, of course, will also make fun of the Brooklyn Nets' ability to play defense, as I often do on this show. What's that?
That's a fallacy. They play defense
now. No, man, it's just fun to make the joke, man. But something I want to get into, and it's interesting. I'm not a baseball guy. A lot of people here who even remotely are aware of me as the student of the game will tell you I have written a baseball article before, but notice I say a baseball article. I don't really follow baseball very closely. However, I am a data man for a living. I do a lot of business intelligence and things like that. And there is a piece of data that's very interesting, friends. The number of no-hitters coming up here in this season is rivaling the number we had in 2015, and we're halfway through the season. Of course, 2015 being one of the seasons, I forget the number precisely, but one of the seasons with the highest number of no-nos in an MLB season. So it begs the question, Bobby Blackjack, why is this happening? How is this happening? And is the pandemic to blame? Of course, that last part's a joke, but maybe not. I don't know. It's funny. What I've heard a lot of the baseball people saying, you can tell me if this makes sense to you or not, Bobby Blackjack, but my appreciation is that the Moneyball era and all of this, along with the prestige of the home run ball, I believe has gotten things to where nobody is really trying to just get on base. They're all trying to get that big ball, that long ball hit for the most efficiency, because that's what statistics say are efficient. Now, granted, that's the problem with statistics is if you don't know how to use them properly, you are problematic. Ergo, then you get a lot of no-hitters. In order for one to hit home runs, one must make contact with the damn ball, obviously. Thank you. That's my Booker McFarland impression as the football analyst from ESPN, whom I am even better than, and is stealing money from a lot of competent people everywhere. But I say all that to say this. The question is being thrown out there is that should baseball fans be worried about this statistical anomaly, the abundance of no-nos? Should baseball respond somehow? What do you think, Bobby?
I mean, how are they going to respond? Are they going to I think prior to this season, there was definite reports that the ball was different from the past couple of years, and there wasn't that bounce to it that led to the offensive explosion the past couple of years. So we heard that start of the season, and now we're about a quarter way through, and you're starting to see a lot of abnormalities, including the immense amount of no hitters that are going on. I mean, it's only a matter of time now until we're going to see a perfect game, right? I mean, the odds are now kind of favored to see one, right? Considering no one take the ball, like you said, everybody's trying to jack it out of the park every swing they take.
Yeah, and now all you have to do as a pitcher is swing safe and throw pieces of junk that they're going to try to make something out of nothing with, and then it becomes, they're playing a lottery game rather than a baseball game. The days of, how they say, hit it level and run like the devil, or swing level and run like the devil, like, that being a thing of a past. But from where I sit, I really hate, and this goes for any sport, which is why I could speak for it with some authority, regardless of the fact that I am not a baseball guy. I really hate that when the offense does something well, defensive players have to be punished. Or excuse me, other way around. When defensive players do well, they get punished so we can see more offense, because that's allegedly what the fans like. Now, granted, I would admit with baseball, while a no-hitter in and of itself is fun to watch, your typical hitting exchange gets a little tedious, after a while. Not exactly great television. There's not a lot of movement going on there. This is why American fans get bored with soccer, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So while I can see the business motivation to want to solve for that, and granted, I don't know if they do it with the ball, the bat, they make the ball heavier so the pitchers can't do as much with it, or I don't know. There's probably some physics somebody could throw out there that's way more involved in the game of baseball than I am to actually provide them a solution of what that might be. But I don't think that the defensive players should be punished for doing their damn job. Here's something. How about you learn how to hit? I've been them apples, right? All the people that try to defend baseball to me, telling me it's not a waste of time by saying, well, the statistics are very interesting and you could get into it. Here's a statistic. You got to hit the ball to do anything. Actually, that's not a statistic. That's a fact and another Booker McFarland impression. But I hate the idea of punishing the defenders for doing their job. Meanwhile, in football, if there's a blowout, people are all like, you're disrespecting us by blowing us out. What's the ungrateful response usually? Then stop them. If we're going to challenge the defense with then stop them, we don't punish them when they actually manage to do so. That's what I'm saying. And I'll leave it at that. So, anyways, I don't know who's saying what's up, but apparently it's a Facebook user.
Hey, somebody on Facebook, one of the 4 billion users saying, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah, right.
By the way, special guest, Kyle.
What's that?
We do have a special guest.
That's very appropriate that you mentioned a special guest. Would it be our young prodigy that you're speaking of?
Not quite yet. It's our older prodigy.
Oh, look at this effing guy.
By the way, that was Kurt.
I'm supposed to just start, like, first of all, you're like, I don't, and listen, I know you got some stuff going on, man, but listen, I'm married. There's only one mind I'm supposed to read, dog. What's up?
Well, it's great to be back, everybody.
Welcome back, brother, man. Welcome back.
Listen, it's great to be back. Thank you, Bobby, for not telling Kyle, because I really, I didn't know until about maybe 30 minutes ago. So it's great to be back to where home is, and Kyle has taken the show to a whole new level over the last few weeks. And so,
look at this. Look at the politics on this guy. I love it.
No, listen, when it comes to baseball and 3-0 counts, listen, swing away. All right? You've put the pitcher in a fastball throwing situation. Throw better pitches.
Somebody, real quick, before I head off.
You got backwards with that. It's no-nos that are happening. Pitchers are working, dog.
I know we have Hunter waiting and we'll do a lot of NBA stuff, but real quick, I heard someone say this on radio before, and I agreed 100%. They said there's no mercy rule in baseball, right? But if a position player has to come in and pitch, the game should be over at that point. If you're going to send your right fielder to come in and pitch 2 innings, at that point, call the game.
Hell no.
I don't agree with that fundamentally either, but I don't.
Listen, Bobby, and to that point, Bobby, if Alabama's beating, Florida Tech school of like the mechanics 812-0 in football, do you think they stop the game?
Just say USF. Let's be honest.
No, I mean, okay, USF. If Alabama is smacking around USF, do you think they call the mercy rule? Do you think they have the running clock at this point? No. Listen, I understand in baseball if you're getting dragged on the baseball field 19-0, you got to throw your right fielder out there. It is what it is. Okay, be smart enough not to put your starting right fielder on the field.
I'll put it this way: you're not wrong, but the good defense is the fact that baseball doesn't have a clock, so you're just waiting for someone to get bored.
I honestly think when it comes to this, the position player role like Bobby just brought in, listen, do what you got to do. Throw better pitches. Don't get hit around like the Bugs Bunny cartoon with the Gas House Gorillas. They're just basically smacking them around the field. All right.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, how can I disagree with you? I just sat here and told batters, "Hey, hit better if you want to avoid a no-no." And yes, absolutely, it should go the opposite way.
Trevor Bauer said the same thing. Trevor Bauer is a reigning Cy Young Award winner. He says, "You know what? If a home run gets hit on me on 3-0, guess what? More power to you. I should have made better pitches the first 3 times."
He's not wrong, folks.
And some people say, "Oh, you're not supposed to sing at 3-0." Are you crazy? That's like telling Michael Jordan not to take a slam dunk in an open lane. Okay, that's basically telling Tom Brady in the year he had Randy Moss, don't throw to Randy on a 5'2" corner on a fade route. You don't do that. You basically do what you got to do.
Hey, listen, It's 3rd and 1. If he's isolated, don't throw it to Randy. No, that's not how it works.
It's okay. Listen, you have a 300-pound defensive lineman. You can't run a 5 route. You can't stop that. All right. Listen, you just pitch better. You pitch better. You make better decisions in the field. The same way if a quarterback is, if you get blown out in football, the game doesn't stop. You get blown out in basketball, as we watch the Charlotte Hornets get blown out on Tuesday night. That game don't stop. That clock was still running, and the Pacers were still scoring. They're still scoring as we speak now in that game. But those rules are unwritten. Keyword, the unwritten rules. But those rules
baseball.
Yeah, but people still play by the baseball rules that were around when Abraham Lincoln created baseball. Okay? All right. Like, Bobby, okay? Bobby, you and our good friend Ted Hicks first started baseball back in the 1800s. Okay, y'all were on the field with Ty Cobb and those guys back in the 1800s playing Field of Dreams baseball.
That old.
Hey, what was it? 7 years ago, thou shalt not flip the bat after a dinger.
And thou shalt know that Bobby Blackjack was the first starting pitcher in baseball back in the 1800s.
Oh, look at this guy.
Listen, I have missed you guys. Okay, I am back home. It's great. Like I said, I really want to thank you guys for leading the show while I was on hiatus for the last few weeks. It's great to be back.
Real quick before I go, I made a colossal error last week. I booked my trip to Atlanta. I was supposed to be on a plane right now, landing in Atlanta, thinking the meeting was this weekend. The meeting was last weekend.
Listen, so basically, you did what the Charlotte Hornets. Basically, you did what the Charlotte Hornets did, and also the San Antonio Spurs. You thought you were playing a week before you're supposed to. Okay.
Hey, listen.
At least you didn't Tim Tebow yourself.
I don't even know what that means, but okay.
Listen, he said Bobby got there before he wasn't supposed to be there. Okay. Tim Tebow signed a contract before he wasn't supposed to show up in Jacksonville. All right. All right, so let's catch up on everything. Bobby, so let's catch up on everything that I've missed the last 2 weeks.
Now, Danny, just so you know, Kyle, not knowing that you're going to pop on, you surprised us. We do have a on the line ready to talk some hoops with us. So
listen, it's always good to have a second voice talking hoops. And our good friend Hunter Mintic, thank you for stopping through the show, Hunter.
Of I-95, you got to give him that name. You got to give him the not the championship belt, but you got to hang that banner. The prodigy.
The prodigy
of I-95.
Listen, this guy he's the future. That's all we're going to say. He's the future. He's the future of the network. I mean, you got to think it's past, present, and future. Bobby was the founding father. Bobby is the founding father of I-95. Am I lying about this? Bobby is the founding father of I-95. He's on the Mount Rushmore of I-95 where he created this whole process.
That's the thing, dog. You calling him the past and forefather.
No,
but a minute ago you're talking about he's old enough to have powdered wigs and dickies. Okay, don't act like you weren't making that juxtaposition. What's smarter than that here, Danny Thompson?
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm blaming the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm basically trolling everybody with Tim Tebow, okay?
Oh,
all I'm saying is this. Bobby was the forefather of I-95. Bobby started this whole thing and made it nice for me and Kyle. And so Kyle and I are paving the way so Hunter can take it to the next level. It's just all about progression.
Yes,
So-
sir.
And tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, me and Hunter's dad, we do our thing tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay, so it goes from Family Ties now down to Family Guy. Got you. All right.
Guys, you guys talk basketball. When you're ready for the little Brooklyn Nets, I'll jump in.
Oh,
Okay.
gosh.
So so that's
Bobby's
Bobby
not coming
Blackjack. Bobby Blackjack's New Jersey. Basically, there you go, Kyrie.
Hi,
Nice to
Kyrie.
see you. Nice to see you. Bobby's going to do what Blake Griffin does. He shows up when he feels like it. All right.
Oh,
Apparently, you were the one that was also dunking like Blake Griffin right then. Danny Thompson for you, ladies and
Well,
gentlemen. Okay.
I had my Clipper knees in. Okay,
That's
I had my Blake Griffin Clipper
Clipper
knees.
knees.
All right.
But listen, man. Hey, listen. We got him here. Our resident I-95 prodigy, of course, the Warriors fan. I'm gonna ask the question to get it out of the way. Like, I know you're on the opposite end of it. I don't understand why anyone is giving LeBron any hell for hitting the shot. Can somebody help me with that? I mean,
the NBA, like the front offices and Adam Silver's got the best situation that they could have possibly gotten with that game. I mean, they were there. That the play-in tournament is to keep awareness in the end of the season and increase viewership. And next thing you know, you get LeBron versus Stephen Curry having one of the best battles that we've seen out of both of them.
since one
and-
of the finals. Yeah.
Yeah, and
If-
it was an incredible game.
Well, if you look at the perspective of everything, the ratings for a 10 o'clock game that pretty much most of the East Coast completely, excuse my language, they bitched and complained because nobody in the East Coast wanted to stay and
Even
play.
I did.
Yeah, but we all
Hey.
did anyway.
Yeah.
Well, no, I didn't. I got 2 kids, fool. I don't know what your thing is, and I also recorded Hilarity by Default last night. So
Okay.
yeah, I was bitching.
Well, check out Hilarity by Default when it's released. But for those who watched the game last night, if you put it in the comparison, it was ESPN's highest rated game since the Western Conference Finals. I think it was 7 years ago. All right.
Jeez.
What this game provided last night, I think Hunter, it's going to hurt Hunter watching this. Is the fact of the turning point in the game wasn't LeBron's 3-pointer in the fourth quarter. To me, it was in the third quarter. The Warriors had a 12-point lead,
I
and
completely agree.
next thing you know, the Lakers missed. And Stephen Curry goes down the court and he causes a turnover. Mind you, him and Draymond Green had 12 combined, but this turnover led to a 6-0 Laker run in about maybe 45 seconds, maybe 50 seconds, that kind of flipped the momentum of the game. If the Warriors go down and score, even if Steph hits a 3-pointer, it's a 15-point game with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. I think, Hunter, maybe we'll go back and forth with this one. To me, that was the turning point of the whole game. Because up to that point, let's be honest, for as bad as the Warriors shot, the Lakers were just worse than they were.
Yeah.
You would have thought these two teams were playing in preseason.
Yeah, though I mean the Lakers have been the best defensive team all year, with or without injuries. Even when without injuries, they stayed 500, or without LeBron and AD, they stayed 500 due to their defense. And last night, I think the turning point of that game was what you said in the third quarter. In the beginning of the third quarter, Andrew Wiggins had one of the best first halves of the whole season. He was locking up LeBron. LeBron, I believe, was shooting the ball terribly in the first half. He was turning the ball over. It was truly because of Andrew Wiggins. If you watch that game, Andrew Wiggins was playing lockdown defense on him. And to start the third quarter, now at the end of the third quarter, Wiggins turned it around. But there was like 3 straight possessions where Andrew Wiggins had like a turnover, a missed shot, and then like a block shot or a charging foul or something. And I was like, just that to me was the turning point of the game, was Wiggins not having that mentality to be like, I can take over this game, where he misses and then he comes down, tries to do it again, misses again. And that to me was the turning point.
I think some other parts in this game last night that was really some issues was the Warriors missed a lot of wide open threes. JTA, not GTA.
Juan Toscano Anderson.
Yes. Juan Toscano Anderson, who've been playing most of the year like GTA on the Xbox Series X, played like GTA on the PlayStation 1. Okay. He was missing wide open threes, Kyle. It was seriously like watching Ben Wallace and Bismack Biyombo have a 3-point contest. How bad the 3-point shooting was. He was wide open at least 2 or 3 times from his spot. From his spot, I mean, Kyle, he's literally
from the wing.
From the wing, Kyle, which is the shortest corner in the NBA, as you know, as you're being a statistics guy. It's the shortest person in the NBA, and there's nobody within 5 feet of him, and it doesn't go in.
See, I hear all that, and I'm not here to tell you you're wrong, gentlemen, but they hit 44% from three, and they still blew the damn game. A few missed open threes, that's a thing that happens in basketball. It's a tough shot. Now, granted, I know it's not the 90s anymore, and that expect everybody to pull a three out of their keister, but 44% is amazing. Well, so I come to ask, why are we not giving this team a hard time for not being able to play defense like we should? I get you shut down people. LeBron may have had his worst first half as a Laker, and maybe so too did Anthony Davis. I don't know, pile on. But how on earth do you let anybody like that come back to life?
It's very simple. To Hunter's point earlier, the Lakers are the best defensive team in the NBA, and they've been, with the exception of the Knicks. So when you get wide open opportunities to hit shots, you have to hit them. You have to hit them. You got to make the Lakers pay for what they cannot do defensively. Because what happens is, if you can't do it defensively, offensively, the Lakers will punish you defensively. And that's what they did. If you look last night, I think our good friend at ESPN, I can't remember her name, analyst, I can't remember her name. Monica McNutt, excuse me. She did this morning on Get Up This Morning. She mentioned a great stat last night. And Hunter, this is something that Warriors fans didn't want to hear. Stephen Curry was double or triple teamed or even quadruple teamed 16 times in the game last night. Basically, they were saying was, you're going to beat us with everybody on the court. Steph might get his, but everybody else better beat you. Yeah. And those 16 possessions, I think the Warriors might have hit maybe 5 or 6 shots on those situations where Curry was getting doubled and at some points even triple or quadruple teamed. It was bad last night.
Base case scenario, and what you're saying there is semi-anecdotal, but we'll roll with it. Let's say they hit 6 of 16. That's just better than a third. Okay, yeah, that's good defense by the Lakers. But again, where I'm at is you guys tell me, because here's the part where I'm having problems. Granted, I haven't researched it as much as I would have liked to going into it as the game just happened last night. But where did the Warriors defense begin to fail? Maybe they were utilizing, they being the Lakers, utilizing Anthony Davis down low more, where granted he doesn't enjoy being a true big man. Nobody does nowadays. Am I right? But were they utilizing him more as a big to be a presence to cut certain things off? I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here. What did the Lakers fix or the Warriors blow? Because listen, you're telling me Lakers are great at defense. Listen, even if my sorry butt knew it, we got common knowledge. Tell me what I don't know about the Warriors game or the Lakers game in the second half that changed.
I honestly think the defensive, what you're talking about, like where did the defense change? This might sound crazy because if you watch the game, obviously they had a really bad first quarter, really bad second quarter. But I think it started in the first quarter due to the fact that right out the gates, LeBron and AD were absolutely clamped up. They couldn't do anything to start the game. And the Warriors should have taken a way better lead. But Kentavious Caldwell-Pope came out the gates and hit, I believe it was like 8 points right out the gate for the Lakers. He was the only one hitting threes. And to me, in my mind, while I'm watching the game as a Warriors fan, I'm here thinking, if Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's going to be the guy we're worried about right now at this point in time, we're going to be screwed at the rest of the game because there's no way LeBron and AD later in the game are going to keep shooting this bad. So right out the gates, even we were up big in the first quarter, and I sat there and I'm like, if Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is hitting his shots, eventually AD and LeBron will hit their shots. And I think if we could have just contained a couple shots in the first quarter from guys like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Alex Caruso had 14 points at the end of the first half. He was when he was guarding Curry, you could see the difference of how Curry played compared to when like Dennis Schroeder, Wesley Matthews, and KCP were guarding them. So I think a big part of it was, one, putting Caruso on Curry, because you could see when Dennis Schroeder was on Stephen Curry, it was abysmal. Dennis Schroeder had one of the worst games of the league his whole season this year. But I think it really did start in the first quarter with the Warriors not being able to guard KCP.
Well, and I love that point. But at the end of the day, if what you're telling me is that the Lakers had somebody just hitting enough shots to keep them around, and that 44% from three isn't enough to bury them, I guess I thoroughly understand with that, along with their defensive prowess, is why even though they're such an air quotes low seed, they're still your championship favorite. I get it.
Exactly.
If you look at it like this, Kyle, so you're looking at it from this perspective. The Warriors did hit 15 3-pointers, but they only hit 5 in the second half.
Mhm.
The Lakers played outstanding defense in the second half, and what the other part was, and what I want to give, I want to go piggyback on kind of what was said a second ago. Dennis Schroeder was struggling throughout the first half, but in the third quarter, Dennis Schroeder was getting to the basket. He knocked down 3-pointers, and it allowed Anthony Davis and those guys to load up in the fourth quarter. Because here's what it was: mostly load management of LeBron James through 3 quarters because he's still not healthy with the ankle injury.
Thanks.
All right. The fact that the idea is to load in the first couple moments, and then the second moments in the second half, let LeBron James play as many minutes as possible. Anthony Davis woke up, and then LeBron James, I guess he got the Ric Flair finger poke in the eye, and I guess it kind of like literally woke himself up, and then he's seeing
three blast hits.
But in the first half though, Anthony Davis couldn't do nothing because Draymond Green was being Draymond Green. He was being annoying and agitating.
Yeah.
So if you look at this now, the Lakers are now, which is the weirdest thing ever, they are a favorite to beat the Phoenix Suns.
Yep.
And Hunter, here's the point I have before we get into the playoff talk. Would you have ever imagined? Now, Kyle and I have built on this earth as dinosaurs for a while, and you're the brand new pterodactyl on the block. Would you have ever thought? Would you have ever thought that being a top 2 seed in the Western Conference could potentially make you an underdog in a first-round series? Because that's what we have now. We have the coach of the year, Monty Williams, and the Phoenix Suns going now against the irritated LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and the Lakers are the favorites. This is supposed to be the other way. This is supposed to be the other way around. The Lakers are supposed to be the 2 seed, and the Suns are supposed to be 7. This is not how this works.
It's the power of injuries. How many times in NFL playoffs have we seen an underdog be the hosting seed at home, like we're seeing here? The only difference is you only got to play 1 game in the NFL, right?
I feel so bad for Phoenix. They worked so hard this year to get to that 2 seed, get that top 2 seed. And
They did, and then they couldn't hold on the last day of the season as Utah took care of business, and now they got LeBron James, Anthony Davis. But on the other end, if you're the Jazz might not have it so easy either, because even though Donovan Mitchell did practice today, is expected to play on Sunday in Game 1 for the Jazz.
Right.
You are potentially looking at either chasing Stephen Curry around for as many games as possible, or listen, Hunter, I know you don't want to fear about this because Sunday was a really, really eye-opening experience for the Warriors. The Memphis Grizzlies are really good.
I agree with that. They're very deep. They're a very young, hungry, and deep team. That's the best way to put them. Dylan Brooks played a fantastic game against the Spurs, and that's a player that's going to be on Curry for most of the game. And Dylan Brooks is one of the most underrated defenders, and they've got the size on us. Triple J, Jonas Valanciunas just had a 23-23 game, and I was like, we are not going to be able to guard him. So it's going to be a tight one.
Kyle, if you watch anything, Jonas Valanciunas is one of your type of guys. He's kind of like an offensive lineman. Okay,
I love him.
He's a big guy with a beard who's badass and basically pushes people around. He's an old school center, but at the same time, he likes to get physical. So, Kyle, he's your type of center. And the thing is, he sets screens. He can hit the jump shot, but he'll punish you in the paint.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only problem with Jonas Valanciunas is either he gets in foul trouble or he just has an off night and it doesn't seem can't hit water. But last night, 23-23, there was nothing that the Spurs could do. They could have called Tim Duncan last night and it wouldn't have stopped it.
Hey, yeah, Jakob Poeltl's one of the best defenders, one of the most underrated defending centers this season. And for Jonas Valanciunas to be able to do it on an underrated defender like Jakob Poeltl, it was amazing.
2 words: barbecue chicken.
Hey, listen, I love the fact that you guys are talking statistics and analytical facts here. I am a data guy for a living. That's why I get money. But at the end of the day, gentlemen, I really think the basketball gods played this one and saw to it that despite the fact that I definitely love everyone's favorite old man coach, you want to talk about old guys in San Antonio, that is it's the only one I remember of an NBA West team having a shot, I'm going to air quote it, at the playoffs. I'm glad they lost. That's the thing I hate the most about this play-in situation, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Well, Hunter, let's fast forward through the playoffs while you're on the show. Let's start with the good old Eastern Conference because listen to this. Unless the ghost of Reggie Miller and Chuck Person come back,
Yeah, they're down 26.
There's no way in hell the Pacers win this game tonight. The Washington Wizards somehow turned into the Washington Bullets are slapping around the Pacers right now. 91-66 midway through the third quarter. The game is on TNT. Don't worry, just come over here. We'll talk more about it because you're not missing much. The Wizards, when the Wizards win tonight, they will go ahead and take care and play the Philadelphia 76ers on Sunday in the first round of the playoffs. So we're going to assume that like I said, the Pacers aren't getting 7 players on the court compared to the Wizards 5, or Russell Westbrook starts playing for the other team at this point. All right, Hunter, we're going to break each series down in about maybe 35, 40 seconds on each side, and then we'll tell you we'll both pick our winners. Sixers, Wizards. Okay. What are you looking for in this series, and how do you think this thing is going to turn out?
I'm looking for Ben Simmons and Matisse Thybulle's defense on Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, and as long as they can shut them down, which I truly believe, those are both all defensive team players this season. They've been outstanding on the defensive side of the ball. Ben Simmons is not Defensive Player of the Year, but he is behind Rudy Gobert, but he's still the best guard defender we've seen. I'm going to see Joel Embiid absolutely feast on guys like Alex Len and Robin Lopez, and I'm probably going to end up taking Philly in 5. I'll take Westbrook and Beal to sneak one out.
This is real simple. The Sixers got the best matchup possible ball first round.
Yes.
Okay. Listen, Charlotte, they would have beat Charlotte because Charlotte hasn't won since Barack Obama was president of the United States. They haven't beaten the Sixers since Obama was in office. All right. It's been that long. All right. Boston would have been the worst case scenario for Philadelphia because that's a matchup nightmare because they still can't stop Jason Tatum.
Yep.
So guess what? Indiana, they would have beat around. But Washington's a different story. To your point, with Simmons and Thibault playing defense on Westbrook and Beal, it kind of neutralizes that. The only way Washington can win this series is if Davis Bertans is lasering everything for the three-point line.
Exactly.
But let's be honest, Tobias Harris is way better than all of them anyway. Sixers will win this. I think the Sixers will win this thing in 5 games. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a sweep.
Yep.
The 2-7 matchup, which will now be the Boston Celtics taking on the Brooklyn Nets in the battle of trades. Listen, no one should be talking about this trade between Brooklyn and Boston because that trade happened eons and eons of years ago, and we all know the Celtics won the trade. Okay, because Jaylen Brown, even though he's not playing, was the key part of this draft.
Yes.
Draft class. Here's the problem: Jaylen Brown's not playing in the series. All right, unfortunately, he's not playing in the series, and if he did, it's still a bad matchup. Brooklyn's got all 3 of their big 3 healthy, and Blake Griffin somehow is dunking again.
I'm gonna with this matchup, you know, I can see Tatum having like 50 points again, like he did, but they're not. The rest of the teams just isn't. They're not there yet. You know, I don't think that they have the guard defenders to like match up well against them. And so for that reason, I think Harden and Kyrie are going to have their series. Kyrie's going back to, you know, Boston for a little bit. I don't see the Celtics even taking a single game. So I'm going to say Brooklyn in 4.
It wouldn't surprise me if Brooklyn wins the series in 4, barring some type of injury. And even with the injuries, the Celtics are still not even close in this series. Jaylen Brown does make a difference. I don't know how much of a difference. They would have got a game. They would have got a game or so in this series. Brooklyn is a sweep.
And by the way, a quick point here. I agree with you on the Philly series. I don't know why I'm not picking games since I did so well with that last year. But that's okay.
You know what, Kyle? What you got? You know what? We're throwing you in it too.
Let's hear it.
I would have said I would say a sweep for Philly to start off with, but I'm worried that I'll jinx Joel Embiid because he's been healthy for so long. I don't want to do that. I'll stick with you guys in 5 for that one. And here, it's going to be a sweep. And in 3 of the games, Brooklyn will give up 120 points. It won't matter because they'll probably score about 140 anyway. So there you go.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Tom
Kemba Walker could probably have a very big series. So
Tom is saying the chat put money on it. Tom, this is the wrong show, Tom. Actually, you want to check out sports betting, check out Chris Pardo's show at 12 o'clock on Blackjack TV. He'll tell you how to bet. Because if
you're man, ladies and gentlemen.
Trust me, if you're really thinking that Boston has any chance in this series, you must be thinking they're going to call Larry Bird, the ghost of Robert Parrish and Bill Russell. Okay, there's no way. Only way Brooklyn loses this series is they implode themselves. Brooklyn's going to get out of this thing. Implosion or somebody taking PTO time. That's the only way the Nets lose the series. All right, 3-6 matchup. Listen, this matchup to me, I think is the best matchup in the first round. You have Miami, the defending Eastern Conference champions, taking on the Bucks, who should have been the Eastern Conference champions last year. All right, Hunter, go first.
It's tough, man. Because we've seen it happen multiple times now with Giannis. But I truly think the difference maker this year is going to be Drew Holiday. I think Drew Holiday's defense on the perimeter is going to make wonders for that team. He brings the playmaking ability that they haven't had since Malcolm Brogdon. And with Giannis being able to hit some mid-range shots possibly and not be forced into a brick wall, of course, Bam Adebayo is going to give him a lot of trouble. But I see Giannis also shutting down Bam Adebayo. Chris Middleton's one of the most underrated players in the NBA as long as he can keep up his efficient shooting. It's going to be an incredible, incredible series. I think this series truly depends on the young talent that Miami has. They're banking on Tyler Hero having a really good playoff series like they did last year, along with guys like Kendrick Nunn, Max Strauss, and even Gabe Vincent. So in my opinion, it's going to be a close one. I'm going to take Milwaukee in 7.
Go ahead, Kyle.
I mean, listen, the point you made about the perimeter defense is what's going to make this 6 or 7 games long. Otherwise, I would really have Miami with this in 5 or 6 because you point out Chris Middleton being a huge part of the team. And the only time you've seen him in the playoffs lately is on the back of a damn milk carton. I have no reason to believe he'll do anything other than that. I have the Heat in 6.
Wow. Here's the issue I have with the Heat this year. Tyler Hero is phenomenal in the playoffs. Then he gets a couple rap music videos, and somehow goes missing. All right. Tyler Hero's done more in Jack Harlow videos than he's hit jump shots this season. That's become a real problem for the Heat.
Yes.
The Heat who do not have Victor Oladipo, who they're expecting when they traded for him to be a big key part of what they're trying to do. To Hunter's point, Drew Holiday changes everything for the Bucks. This isn't milk carton Eric Bledsoe we got to deal with here. Drew Holiday can guard Jimmy Butler in this series. Not saying you shut him down, but he can physically guard him. And we all know how good Chris Middleton is defensively. Brook Lopez is underrated in the series. Not only is he going to be able to hit threes, he's going to be able to block shots in the paint too. If Miami had Oladipo in this series, I'd feel completely different about taking the Heat. You know, the reason those young, older guys. Like I said, Tyler Hero's playing against his hometown team. I got the Bucks in 6. It's hard. As much as I love Miami, the Bucks just it's something about the Bucks this year. They can get out of the series and erase that demon from last year.
Yep.
I felt like they were a better team last year. That's just my opinion. And hey, listen, I'm the least knowledgeable of the trio.
But the Bucks were the better team last year. The problem was the Heat wanted it more.
Oh, that's very fair. Yeah,
that was all it was. He came to play, and the Bucks looked like they just Mike Budenholzer didn't know how to coach that series. So I'm hoping he really can turn it around this year.
And Jimmy Butler wanted it more than anybody else last year. Nobody in the league wanted it more than Jimmy Butler.
Made him a top 10 player.
Only bad thing about it was Jimmy Butler ran out of gas in the finals, and there was nobody else to pick him up. And Dragic injury killed him last year too.
It's ironic that they lost to the Lakers, yet I felt like I saw Jimmy Butler carrying the Heat like LeBron carried the Cavs. Okay, maybe not quite that much, but close to that.
He went full-fledged at one point. He almost went to the point where he was basically He was basically Forrest Gump. He was basically Forrest Gump. He was basically Forrest Gump carrying everybody through the woods in Vietnam at that point last year, what Butler was doing in the playoffs. 4-5 matchup. This is going to be, I think, the series that's going to define 2 franchises in 2 cities at the same time. The New York Knicks, the Atlanta Hawks play in an interesting first-round series. We've already got firings already because Nate McMillan's already been fined $25,000 already.
Hey, if you didn't bring it up, I would have.
He got fined $25K already for talking about potential foolishness in the series. All right. If anything is WWE scripted, this is a series to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Kyle, go ahead, lead off.
Man, it's ironic you call it scripted because I find this to be the most unpredictable damn series in the East, okay? Remember last year out West, we had Utah and the Grizzlies, and I told y'all fools, it's going to go 7.
You said
Guess
Denver.
what?
It actually was Denver.
Denver.
You said Denver.
Or Denver. I said, excuse me, I said Grizzlies, I meant Nuggets. There you go. The point is, I told y'all fools it was going to go 7, and I see that written all over this series, okay? I don't care if you love Randall or Young and which side of the thing you're on. I don't know what it is. I'm going part gut, part analytics here. At the end of the day, you got 2 franchises who have been struggling mightily for a while and have a shot to actually do something for the first time in a long time, and one of them is guaranteed to win a damn playoff series. That's all we know here. And I think it's good. Little things like the whole Randall fine and the mentality and situation, the psychology of the series, stuff like that's going to get played. Like if you get, cracked down for talking smack against your opponents with a fine by saying some foolishness is going to happen, that's the kind of thing that motivates a team or demotivates a team leading into a series like this. It's going 7. For some reason, I have the Knicks on my mind because it's hard for me to find a true air quotes weakness for Julius Randle.
Hunter, you want it? You want the ball, or you want it in the fourth quarter?
I'll get the fourth quarter.
Oh, look at the prodigy.
Hey, listen, you got to defer to him sometimes. You got to let Patrick Mahomes take over in the fourth. All right, so this series is, to me.
I got my own line right here.
Hey, listen.
Oh no, he's taking a shot at me. It's all good.
It's all good. Hey, listen, I'm just a utility man in the show tonight. When you look at the Hawks and the Knicks on paper, you would have never thought these two teams would be matched up each other in a 4-5 matchup. And two, you would have never thought the Knicks would have home court. All right. All right. And what in the Amari Stoudemire of the world situation, Julius Randle has did more to this, has ignited the city the same way Julius Randle ignited the city. Amari Stoudemire ignited the city the first year he was in New York.
Yep.
The difference is the monster of Julius Randle does so much more on the court. The problem is on the other side is the Knicks have got to figure out how to stop Trae Young. Now, it's been talked about this week that Tom Thibodeau might throw Frank Ntilikina back in the rotation to try to guard Trigger Trae because
change the whole series.
It could change the whole series. But the problem is the Hawks come in with a lot more weapons. Bojan Bogdanovic, DeAndre Hunter's back. He's had a week to get himself together, and I think a humongous week because Hunter is a difference maker in the series. I love the Knicks. I love Randall. I love RJ Barrett. I love the story. I love seeing Derrick Rose play good basketball. I have the Hawks in this series. Here's the reason why the Knicks will miss Mitchell Robinson so much in this series. Not having him in this series is going to punish them because Clint Capella is going to punish them on the glass.
Mm-hmm.
Hawks in 7. I think Trae Young goes to Madison Square Garden and shuts everybody up about how good he is as a player. He shuts Madison Square Garden down in Game 7. I will take the Hawks in 7.
See, this time last year, you were worried about all the weapons that Denver had, but you didn't say 7. You're learning, Danny. You still said 7.
Go ahead, Hunter. Close us out this one.
So it's 1-1. It's 1-1 between you guys right now. Got the Prodigy coming up. So it's going to be
if it goes 7. I still feel like a winner. I want the record to show.
No matter what happens in this series, it's going to be probably, in my opinion, the most entertaining series that we'll have. I know you got, Bucks Heat, probably the most talented one, but I think the fans are really, really going to enjoy watching this series. I think it really does have to, I was thinking that too when I heard Kyle say Knicks in 7. And originally I did have Knicks in 7 when I was thinking about it. But that loss of Mitchell Robinson, I think Clint Capella is such an underrated player in the NBA. DeAndre Hunter coming back, he's been one of the best 3-and-D players that you could have on your team at this point in the season. I think it's a toss-up for me. It's really depending on Trae Young and how guys like Derrick Rose and Emmanuel quickly come out the gates and play. I'm going to trust my gut, and I'm going to say Knicks in 7 just for the pure fact that I think they have more will to win. I know you said Trae Young is going to come out the gates wanting to prove people. But at the same time, I think Julius Randle still has stuff to prove. He should win Most Improved Player this season. But at the same time, we've never seen him dominate in the playoffs. We haven't seen Derrick Rose dominate in the playoffs since that Philadelphia 76ers series before he got injured. And so it's going to be a toss-up. And I think the Knicks win this series, but then it's going to be tough for them to get past this round. But don't be surprised if the next 3 years some big-name free agents end up going to New York because they built a culture this season. Even if they lose this series, the Knicks are New York's on the radar for a lot of up-and-coming talents and up-and-coming free agents. And I would not be surprised if you see the Knicks at the top of the Eastern Conference in the 1, 2, or 3 seed in the next 3 to 5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I will only say this. If the Knicks lose this series, Lonzo Ball, line 1, please. Lonzo Ball on line 1, please.
They need perimeter defense. I completely agree.
At the point guard position. Let's talk
Western. Hey, to Cortland real quick. What's going on, man? Glad to have you aboard.
Mr. Peter Griffin in the house. All right, continue. Let's go. And all right, let's start the Western Conference. The top seed will be the Utah Jazz, and they'll get the winner of the Golden State Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies. Don't sleep on those Grizzlies.
I'm not, but trust me, dude. We saw Stephen Curry beat the Jazz when Jordan Clarkson played a Donovan Mitchell type game, and then we saw the Warriors beat the Phoenix Suns a couple games after. We saw the Warriors beat the Grizzlies. We're gonna see it happen again. All
right, so I'm gonna choose the playing game winner for tomorrow night. I think honestly, I'm gonna say the Warriors are gonna win this game, but I really want the Grizzlies to win. I think I don't see Stephen Curry losing at home, but I will say this: if they get their hands on Utah, it really doesn't matter. The Jazz are going to punish the Warriors. They're going to find ways to make Stephen Curry score 50 points in every single game to make this a series. They're going to test the outside shooters, but the real sixth man of the year is not Jordan Clarkson. It's actually Joe Ingles. Joe Ingles is the X factor in this series. They have Gobert. You have all the other weapons. You have Bogdanovich. Everybody's there to rock and roll. The Jazz will win no matter who it is. If it's Grizzlies, it's 5. If it's Warriors, it's 6. The Jazz get the first round no matter what the opponent is. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not here to tell you you're wrong, but yeah, isn't that a hell of a note that the top seed in the West is an automatic bye-bye from the three of us, regardless of the play-in. That's all I can say about that.
I mean, like I said, I have the Jazz win that series. What you got, Hunter?
I'm gonna agree with you with the Warriors. I have the Warriors going on as well. With the Warriors, I think the X factor for the Warriors, and the only way that this series could go to 7 is Kevon Looney. He's been a very, very good rebounding center this season for the Warriors, especially with James Wiseman going out. But it's really going to be his defense on Rudy Gobert. You know, Rudy Gobert's he's the whole focal point of that team defensively and honestly offensively, with the 4 out, 1 inside with Rudy Gobert as that paint absolute monster. And I would like to see how Kevon Looney matches up. We saw him for a good while defeating guys like Andre Drummond and Montrezl Harrell in that game against the Lakers, because he's a really underrated defensive center in this league. He's got really high IQ. And I think depending on how Rudy Gobert plays, this series is either going to go 7 or 6. But even as a Warriors fan, I have to admit that Utah Jazz team is too good with ball movement, teamwork, and just high IQ basketball. So for that reason, I'm taking the Jazz in either 6 or 7.
Oh, wow. Jazz in 6 or 7. Well, I'll put it this way. We're assuming the GS Dubs clear the play-in game. I think all three of us think that they're going to win. I somehow see them getting past the Jazz, because at the end of the day, you see how perfect a basketball you have to play to overcome the shooting of that group, right? Hey, the Warriors can shoot. Shock face. I know Gobert is a good player, but he's one of those guys that I feel like is a touch overrated to what he has to offer. At the end of the day, well, yeah. At the end of the day, maybe I'm sending Hunter a little greeting card here, and maybe because of it, this will be the series I miss. I got the Warriors in 5 or 6. I'm going to be aggressive and say 5. I don't know why. That's what I feel.
It's a gut feeling.
All I know is if Kyle picks this series correctly, Kyle will have his own. I will give Kyle his own segment where he can talk bad about me for about 5 minutes in a row, and I will sit here with a straight face. All right.
Hey, I'm right for a bad one. I just
Bowl was not even. Whew, that's whew.
That's a crazy take, man.
Okay.
Hey, with Klay Thompson on the court, I could see where you're coming from, but without Klay, we're hoping Jordan Poole it turns into Klay Thompson defensively, and there's no way in hell that's happening.
Jordan Poole, Kendrick Lamar, Swin Poole. I don't know what kind of pool we have on this one. Office pool. All right. Let's start 4-5 matchup, because I know we'll talk about the Jazz and Lakers, Suns and Lakers at the end. Let's start the 4-5 matchup, and this is kind of like one of those. I don't know how to pick this series. You look at I don't know. All right, Country, lead off the 4-5 matchup. I'm gonna let you go first in the series.
Maybe it's just me, but I don't see the Mavericks at all this year as true contenders. I know Luka Doncic has been incredible. He is incredible, but the pieces around him are not built to win a playoff series, especially against the Clippers. You got Kawhi Leonard, you got Paul George, you got decent perimeter defenders, and you got solid interior defenders in Zubac. And I don't know if Serge Ibaka is going to suit up for the series, but in my opinion, I think Kristaps Porzingis, you were just talking about overrated players, is one of the most overrated players ever in the league right now, just for the pure fact he is a 7'3" small forward and cannot guard the interior and has no defensive IQ when it comes to being a big man. And I don't believe that the Mavericks have any right to be in the conversation with this Clippers team. And for that reason, I'm going to take Clippers in 5, because I think Luka Doncic will hit some stupid step back 3 like he did last year against the exact same team. But at the same time, I just don't like the way the Mavericks are built around Luka Doncic right now. And I think this offseason they're going to have to make major adjustments, especially with getting rid of Kristaps. I think Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, these guys are going to be very helpful throughout the series. But the interior presence that the Mavericks just don't have, I'll take the Clippers in 5.
Wow. So off the bat, my dude Hunter is putting me in a situation where I got to create a conflict here. Weren't we just here this time last year in the playoffs where, hey, the Mavericks would have been great, but damn it, Porzingis couldn't stay healthy, and Luka had struggled staying healthy too, and listen, when it comes to the Mavs, this is the team I'm most anxious to see, simply because, okay, you're both healthy. Stay that way. I want to see if you can do something, especially if it's against Kawhi and company with the other LA team. I mean, granted, listen, neither one of these teams are going to get to the finals. We know that. Excuse me. But for me, this was the absolute most difficult series to pick. And yes, that's over and above Atlanta and the Knicks. And the reason why I say that is simply because I have no idea how to feel about this Clippers team. 1 minute I look at that roster and I go, it's electric. Then I see things that happen on the court and I'm like, to hell. I don't know what I'm working with this group. I'm not telling you this is another 7-game series, but it'll definitely be more than 5. I have no idea who to pick. I'm picking the Mavericks now because I just said all that I said, and for some reason I feel inclined to be in conflict with Hunter because it's more fun to talk smack on somebody other
lower
than
seeds
Thompson for once. And I just gave you the Warriors greeting card too earlier, so now I have to pick against you. This is how this works. No, but seriously, from my standpoint, this is the series I'm most interested to see because I was promised I would get a good product from a playoff healthy Luka and Porzingis, so show it to me. And if they pull that off, I really think, I don't know what it is with the Clippers and postseason disappointment, man, but it's been going that way for them since back with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. Okay, so at the end of the day, with that, I'm gonna make it a 7-game series and take the Mavs.
The issue I have with the LA Clippers is that the LA Clippers like a Czech soda.
A Czech soda.
Like a Czech soda. When you open up a Czech soda and you drink the first 15 to 30 seconds of it, it's amazing. It's great soda. But when you sit there and just let it sit for like 2 minutes to go to the bathroom and come back, it becomes flat as hell. And that's what I feel about the LA Clippers at this point in the year. I don't know what to make of them. On paper, to Kyle's point, they have a star-studded roster, and this roster might be almost as good as it was last year. The problem was last year, this Clippers team should have got put out in the first round by the Mavericks last year. Porzingis doesn't go down, that series is over. Porzingis is a guy is extremely hard to guard for the Clippers in any series. No matter if you put Paul George on him, Kawhi Leonard, you can find the ghost of Danny Manning. It's hard to guard Kristaps Porzingis, the offensive end, because he's 7'3" with like a 5,000-foot wingspan. When his game is on and he's hitting 3-pointers, that is a hard thing to stop. And yes. Hunter, he might not be the best defensive guy in the world, but he does average 2 blocks a game because he has long arms.
Because he's 7'3".
Hey, listen. The problem with the Clippers about picking against the Clippers is it's Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. It's hard to pick against those two.
I mean,
Patrick Beverley's healthy. Serge Ibaka. If Ibaka's healthy, this would be an easy pick for the Clippers. I need to see something out of playoff Rondo. They gave up Lou Williams to get playoff Rondo. He better be damn worth it right now. Okay, he better be worth it.
You certainly didn't leave for the wings. Let's be honest. And by the way, side note: earlier I made the milk carton comment about Chris Middleton. That times 2 for Paul George in postseason series. Yeah,
one bad postseason, and everyone thinks the Clippers are going to be bad again. They have had no media attention this year. Remember the last Kawhi Leonard ran team that had no media attention? 2019 Toronto Raptors.
But they
had a whole country.
Well, yeah, in NBA media. No
and
one
also guys emerged from that group. Van Fleet and Siakam. I can't remember.
Hunter, you're better than this. No one pays attention to Canadian sports. Okay, you know better than this.
Hey, hockey's amazing. You shut your face, Danny Thompson.
I love hockey, Kyle Nash. But what I'm saying is, no one pays attention to Canadian teams. Okay, it's always been that way. It's tradition.
Yep.
Okay. You watch How I Met Your Mother. They got cable like 10 years ago compared to that when that show was brought out.
No, but I've seen Robin Williams and he says that it's a loft apartment over a really good party.
Basically. So I guess as I picked this series, it's a difficult series to pick. Hunter makes a great point. This Mavericks team is like I don't know, it's like jambalaya with like no seafood. You don't know what you're
understanding.
It's tasty, but it's not as flavorful as it could be. I get you.
I'm taking Clippers in 6 only because I think the loss of Seth Curry, honestly, for the Mavericks in the shooting department, when you need shooting, even though Josh Richardson is a better defender, you're not really. But where has JJ Redick been since the trade? He ain't want to go there in the first place. All right, he ain't want to be there, and his jump shot's been the same way. I got Clippers in 6. All right, 3-6 matchup. I don't mean 3-6 Mafia. 3-6 matchup is the Denver Nuggets taking on the Portland Trail Blazers. This to me is the best series of the first round. That's not 6 Lakers and Suns related. Yes. Here's what I have in this series. You have the Portland Trail Blazers and Damian Lillard, who is on all cylinders, going to be shooting everything under the sun. The Blazers have a really, really good team. The Nuggets would have won the Western Conference this year if Jamal Murray did not have that season-ending injury, because I can't trust anybody else. They would have won the West because Murray is a guy that can close games out the end. Michael Porter Jr. has taken that step.
It's been incredible.
Now the problem is, with no Jamal Murray, we don't know Will Barton's injury situation. They're banking on kind of a rookie, even though he's 40. He's my age, playing point guard. Campazzo. He's my age. It is what it is. He's my age, playing point guard for the Denver Nuggets. Now he's way better at basketball than I am, but they don't have that guy bouncing off the dribble. Aaron Gordon has been Aaron Gordon. He's been good some games, and some games he's been on the milk carton. The Blazers have backcourt firepower. I need Yusef Nurkic to basically bully the league's MVP in this series.
Won't happen.
Give me the Nuggets in 7. I think this series will go to the final game because Damian Lillard, Dame don't like to lose. Dame's winning 2 games by himself, and I think the Blazers as a team will win a 3rd game as a series. But the Nuggets are just gonna have a hard time guarding Porter. So give me Nuggets in 7.
No, I see it the same way you do, and honestly, I don't even think it's Dame as much as it is CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum's been, in my opinion, a way better playoff performer than Damian Lillard has over the past 5 years. Damian Lillard's just hit the really clutch shot. If you really look into the statistics, when Damian Lillard has off nights, it's CJ McCollum carrying the load. And I think a lot of the attention is going to go to Dame. So as long as CJ can put up a really, really good performance, which I believe he will, because he has never doubted. I've never been wrong with him in the playoffs. I think it's going to be a really close matchup. It's just the way that Nikola Jokic can just control the game. I mean, he's like him and Luka Doncic to me are 2 players that can just absolutely control the game when it comes to pacing, their playmaking. They don't have to. Nikola Jokic could not score in a game, and I could see them winning that game for the pure fact that he could just in the post, he could dish it. He does everything for that Denver Nuggets team. I think it comes down to CJ McCollum versus Michael Porter Jr. in this series. But Nikola Jokic to me right now is miles ahead of Damian Lillard, and I'm going to take the Denver Nuggets in 7.
Kyle, what you got?
You know, you mentioned all the injuries and the concerns and ambiguity with Denver. I've got the Blazers for that reason, because what I hear you handing me is a situation tantamount to Jimmy Butler and company last year. Now, no, I'm not saying Portland's going to the finals. Let's not get stupid. But I think that ambiguity with the injury in that situation going on, and Dame just willing fools to do stuff with McCollum and support, like you talk about, Hunter. I'm inclined to say Portland in 6, but I'm going to go 7 simply because I'm allowing for a margin of error due to my relative greenness in matters NBA. So I'm going to go with you guys in 7 games, but I got Portland.
Okay, final series of the first round. Hunter's favorite team, the LA Lakers, taking on the Phoenix Suns. All right. Well, Hunter is kind of frozen right now. So, Kyle, Lakers and Suns, we'll start with you first.
Like, this is going to go 6, right? Like, we're all sure of that. So, from where I sit, we broke down the Lakers already. They have offense that can re-spark, and when it's down, other contributors fill in behind LeBron James and AD. My concern for the Lakers is not this coming series, but the one after, especially with Bron being in a situation where he is with his ankle. But at the end of the day, I really feel like this is a 6-game series. Lakers win. The Suns are an excellent team. I'm taking nothing from them. Give them one more season.
This is like you're playing the World Series of Poker, and the Suns have been winning every single hand. You go all in, and you realize you only have a 2, a 5, and a 7, and they're all offsuits. The Suns got the worst hand in the playoffs dealt. They win 50+ games. Monty Williams was coach of the year, and guess what? You get the bag that's called LeBron James. The only thing that would defeat the only thing that would help the Suns win this series is if LeBron James or Anthony Davis, God forbid, gets injured.
Yep.
I've said this from the very start of the season on this show, and I've said it from the very beginning. If those two are healthy, they're running through the Western Conference.
You did say that, boss man.
I'm not changing this. As a 7 seed, LeBron James, and here's the thing, this is going to be an even greater playoff win for him in his career because he had to endure a play-in game, a made-for-TV
Green's hands to his eyes.
The Ric Flair eye poke, the eye poke of doom that was all through WCW. He had to go through his best friend, one of his best friends in Chris Paul, and he has to basically eradicate the Nuggets and potentially whatever the Jazz, Clippers, wherever that foolishness on the other side of the bracket is, to get his hands on Thanos. I'm sorry, the Brooklyn Nets in the finals, and defeat all those Avengers over there.
Don't disrespect Thanos by comparing the Nets to him. Now, what's wrong with you?
The Nets should be Thanos with all that firepower they have over there. They have
all the Infinity Stones.
No. With all that firepower, they're the Justice League. They just can't do it right.
Don't disrespect them like that. They're not a DC comic. They actually can pull up a good movie. All I'm saying is this: it's unfair to the Suns. They had to get this series. The Lakers are as long as A and B are healthy, they're going to win this series. I'm taking the Lakers in 6, but man, it's so unfair that Chris Paul, number 1, got shunned for the MVP voting. He should have been in the top 3 today. Sorry, Steph Curry. Chris Paul should have been there.
Oh, here comes Warriors fan.
Listen, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree Chris Paul should be in the MVP running. But if you take Stephen Curry off that Golden State Warriors team, they are winning 5 games this whole series. They are going 5-67, and they are getting the number 1 overall pick.
The Phoenix Suns don't add Chris Paul. They're the same Phoenix Suns team for the last 15 years.
They're the 8 seed.
No, they wouldn't even be in the play-in game.
Speaking of the playing game, it just sucks. I feel so bad for the Suns team, man.
Yeah, exactly. So, Hunter, you're telling me if you gave them who was the point guard last year?
Ricky Rubio?
No, Elie Okobo. If you give them Elie Okobo right now, you're telling me they're an 8 seed?
They're a 9 seed. No, I'll give them a 9 seed. The Grizzlies are better.
Stop it.
8 and on the bubble.
Stop it. I know you. Hunter, we're going to demote you. We're going to demote you to the Chicago Bears at this point.
Ho! Listen, at least the Bears made a good draft pick. Anyways,
listen, he's about to become Mitchell Trubisky.
About to be the backup for Danny and Josh Allen.
Listen, you are about to listen. We're not at the point of calling you Nathan Peterman, but by saying that the Suns were the 9th seed without Chris Paul and Elie Okobo point guard, you're really starting to look.
He's trying to say you're Geno Smith. That's what he's saying.
I'm about to say he's Mark Sanchez in the playoffs.
Bert Emanuel. I don't know. No, Hunter doesn't butt fumble.
Hold up now. Lee Bert Emanuel is a great Falcon, by the way. All right.
Oh God, here we go.
All right, Hunter. Who'd you pick, Suns or Lakers?
I was really rooting for the Suns this year, man. I had them to be the number 1 seed at the beginning of the season, and I was off by 1 game on that. And hopefully I'm off by 1 game again this time, and hopefully the Suns will win 4 games. The series, I think either team that wins will go 7. I think Devin Booker is going to average upwards of 35, 40 points this series because I don't see anyone on the Lakers being able to guard him, and that says something. I think Devin Booker is really going to have something to prove. This series comes down a lot to one man, and that name is DeAndre Ayton. However well he can play on defense on Anthony Davis, I don't think you can play defense on Anthony Davis unless it's the Draymond Green in the first half.
Unless your name is
DeAndre Ayton can shut him down. Yeah, if DeAndre Ayton can shut him down the slightest bit, the Suns have a very good chance to win the series due to guys like Mikal Bridges, Cameron Payne off the bench, and those sharpshooters. Dario Saric has been fantastic with Chris Paul, and it's crazy for me to say, but I'll take Dario Saric right now over Andre Drummond and Montrezl Harrell because those 2 players have been playing awful for the Los Angeles Lakers. So for that reason, I'm still going to take the Lakers in 7 because they have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and I'm not betting against them in the Western Conference.
All I'm saying is, you said you're going to say DeAndre Ayton's going to guard Anthony Davis. I'd rather let Frank Kaminsky guard Anthony Davis defensively.
Yeah, honestly.
DeAndre Ayton's a turnstile in the series. Like I said, I think the issue with that series is just it's bad planning for like I said, it just feels bad the Suns couldn't get one additional game, like you said, because a Jazz-Lakers first-round series would have been popcorn central. You've been wanting that series. Because
Warriors-Suns would have been crazy.
I don't know if it would have been as crazy because
Chris Paul versus Steph Curry again. Oh, those series are great.
But those series are great. But the problem is Devin Booker would score 40 points a game against the Suns because Andrew Wiggins is still frustrating to watch. and the Warriors don't have. If the Warriors had Kelly Oubre in this series, even though Kelly can't shoot, but he's a long enough defender who can switch.
Kelly Oubre sucks. Get him off our Warriors team. He's been so bad. I've watched so many Warriors games this season. I'll take Jordan Poole on defense over Kelly Oubre. Mance has been atrocious.
Listen, the good news is you guys will probably get that Minnesota pick in the first round, and then you get Klay Thompson back. You know what? Here's the question, Hunter. Before we check out, if you're the Warriors, you're picking at 4. What do you do with the 4th overall pick? Because you're going to get Klay Thompson back. Do you take the best college player available? Because you're going to get, if you stay at that pick of the top 4, you can either get Jalen Green, you can get Jonathan Kuminga, you can probably, I'm not going to say Kate Cunningham, Evan Mobley. I don't think you'll take it to the big, but you get.
I think top 3 are 100% going to be Cade, then Mobley, then Suggs. I think that's going to be pretty much. And unless a team like sneaks into top 3 that's in a winning mindset, I think then Jalen Green could be the pick. But I think the pick for the Golden State Warriors would be Jonathan Kuminga. Honestly, I don't think Wiggins is going to be our long-term guy. I think Kuminga and Draymond Green will cause havoc on the league when it comes to defensively. Then you got the Splash Brothers back. You got James Wiseman just having to score offense because we have the defense in Draymond and Kuminga. I honestly think the Warriors, if they get Kuminga, Wiseman comes back and can average 13 and 8 next year, and Draymond and Klay comes 100%. That's gonna be a good team next year. Mark my words.
All I know is if you guys get Jalen Green on the wings, and
he'd be incredible too.
You push that tempo. All right,
a backcourt coming off the bench of Jordan Poole's shooting and Jalen Green's defense. That's Splash Brothers 2.0 when those guys retire. So
listen. Kyle, I'll put it in football terms. If the Warriors pulled off, like I said, what we were discussing, that would be the equivalent of the 49ers defense from 2 years ago of how much offensive talent or how much talent they would have on that roster. You look at how talented the 49ers defense is with the youth, with the experience and the veterans, how they had the great combination of all 3. That's what the Warriors were like, the 49ers defense when they made the Super Bowl, because you had that combination of, like I said, you had Richard Sherman back there in the secondary. He was getting burnt in the Super Bowl. You had his experience back there to go on top.
Tyreek Hill. Come on, bro.
Well, hey, listen, this is what it is. But you had Sherman. You had the Sherman experience. You had Sherman's experience back there, but you still had Bosa. You still had Fred Warner. You still had. I can't remember the entire defense that year because I'm still a blur because the Falcons sucked the last 2 years. What I'm saying is the 49. I mean, you had the guy who's in Indianapolis right now as well too.
The defensive tackle,
DeForest Buckner, right? But you had all that talent with rookies, veterans, and youngsters all 1 year. That's what the Warriors will look like. And I've always told everybody when Klay Thompson got hurt, I said, "This is not the year for the Warriors." All right,
you did say that.
Next year, when everybody gets healthy, if that pick ends up in their hands, Wiggins will still be in that lineup. You still have, and I'm not sure. I think Kelly Oubre is out the door anyway. They just took Kelly Oubre on because they had the trade exception. They thought they were going to be able to do something with it. And Oubre and Wiggins together was arguably the worst shooting duo at small forward in history.
Oh, it's horrific to watch.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine having them in fantasy.
What you're saying is we're going to have another stacked GS Dub team, and everybody's going to give Curry for it because all he does is shoot from the damn cheap seats, bore me to hell and back, and miss shots in the 4th quarter. But I still got to hear about how LeBron chokes. Okay, got it.
No. See, here's the thing about LeBron James. The shot was great last night.
I'm not talking about just that shot. Let's be clear about
the shot was great, but the fact of the WWE theatrics behind it, that's the part that You know,
me
that's the
off.
part that it rubs some the wrong way. I'm not going to say me, but it rubs some the wrong way because he went full-fledged 1990 Macho Man, Randy Savage, Ric Flair, you know, getting chopped and falling down. I mean, yes, he got poked in the eye. Okay, yes, he had to get eye drops in his eye. But this is the same man also that flopping caused it on both ends, Hunter. We're not going to talk about the Lakers and flopping because the Warriors flop too. All y'all
Draymond got some bad calls against him though, man. We could have won that game. That was not an illegal screen on Draymond Green.
Hey, listen. Then
y'all
don't
flop
kick
as well,
people
too?
in the ball. People won't think you're a bully. It's all good.
Listen, but didn't the Warriors flop as well too? Because y'all had some real flopping on that.
Can I say a hot take about that game real quick?
Oh, here
Go
he
ahead.
comes. Oh boy.
This is something that I'm sitting there watching the game, right?
Prodigy shooting his shot. Here we go.
LeBron gets hit in the face. 99% of the time, that is going to be a flagrant foul due to the fact that it was hands to the face. It's contact. It looks reasonable. But I bet you Adam Silver gave those referees a call. The viewership will go down because everyone knows the Lakers will win if Draymond Green comes out of that game. Everyone knew that. If Draymond Green gets a technical foul, second one of the game, he's out. End of the game. You could call it right there.
No, if you want to say a real hot take, you probably had Frank Vogel in the ear, Adam Silver in the ear of Frank Vogel saying, if you don't throw Anthony Davis on Steph Curry in the inbounds, all right. The last thing we needed was the Lakers playing on Friday nights with their playoff life on the line against John Morant, who would love nothing more to take out LeBron James. Could you imagine the financial windfall if the Lakers would have been out of the playoffs?
Yeah,
LeBron might have retired. LeBron might have traded Anthony Davis in that situation.
No, but here's the thing with that, so LeBron goes to the line, hits the 2 free throws. Everyone knew that it was a technical foul. Draymond should be thrown out of the game. So the very next play, Draymond Green sets an extremely clean screen, and they get a call, and it's pretty much the same exact thing as what a technical foul would be. Because the Lakers get 2 free throws and the ball back in less than 20 seconds, and Draymond Green is still in the game. I'm telling you right now,
Hunter,
shenanigans.
Hunter, the Warriors gave up 68 points in the second half. Hunter,
we're not going to talk about that part.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about
right there.
We're going to talk about Jordan Poole missing a wide open corner 3 to tie the game.
We're not going to talk about how y'all. We're not going to talk about how y'all play AAUD. Y'all play all-star defense as LeBron James and Anthony Davis were getting easy baskets in the second half. Okay, Anthony Davis had 20 points in the second half. In the first half, he couldn't do nothing. Kyle, he parted the Red Sea like Moses. That's all I'm telling you. In the second half. This
is why I asked the questions that I did. People are trying to say LeBron James was lucky. Fool, please play some damn defense for full quarters. Okay,
all-time players make all-time shots.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't Big Shot Bob standing at the top of the key and magically having the ball swatted in his direction by Vlade Divac. That's luck. This was just an amazing shot that Thunder Dan Marley used to do. That no one talked about it back then the way they do now.
Dan Marley.
And you shut your face. Thunder Dan Marley's the man. And if you don't like that example, how about Tim Hardaway Sr.? I can keep going. 90s basketball, fools.
I mean, listen, 90s basketball was still my favorite type of basketball. I'm not going to lie, Kyle. They beat the crap out of you. And besides, no theme will still beat the NBA on NBC. To this day, nothing beats John Tesh.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, nothing. That and TNT's old theme song, Kyle. Go look that up. The old school 1990 TNT theme song on Friday Night NBA Hoops was still, to be that in NBC, was like neck and neck of the greatest theme songs of all time. But before we go, Hunter, any shout outs before we go? Shout outs, plug your website, show everything.
People
else.
know where you could be found. Hunter Mednick, prodigy of I-95.
Backcourt Press on Instagram. We're still doing our daily posts. It's just been fun NBA talk there. We've had a couple series going on, doing best player of every season of every team. We actually just finished that series. That took forever. Shout out to my co-host of Backcourt Press podcast. I'll shout that out too, Zach Vinci, for running that series. He was incredible. And as soon as the play-in tournament finishes on Friday, we will be doing a podcast on Saturday. Don't know the exact time yet, but on Saturday we will be doing a podcast talking about the play-in tournament, the ups and downs of it, what the media liked and what the media didn't like, everything and anything NBA related. Follow me on Instagram at iHunter with 3 R's, on Twitter with Backcourt Press, YouTube at Hunter Metnick, and of course, right here on I-95 with the Backcourt Press podcast.
My man. Hey, make sure you have that conspiracy theory fleshed out for that pod, my dog.
I will.
Exactly. And Mr. Dash, You don't have to go last night, sir. Shout outs before you go.
Hey, it's the first time for everything. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game, Instagram, the SOTG. And of course, find my works, writings, and joy on the3pointconversion.com. That is the number 3. And of course, my work with Hilarity by Default on the Hilarity by Default YouTube channel with Demosthenes Euclid.
Well, good. I get to do this the first time in a while. It's been almost 6 weeks since I've been on the show. It's been a roller coaster ride for the last few weeks. A lot of things going on the personal side of things. But
and glad that he's here on the other end of a lot of it. It's not done, but he's here now.
You know, the most important thing is being able to come back home. And like I say, Kyle and Hunter and Bobby have left the seat extremely warm. Big shout outs to every single co-host that's come through with Kyle over the last few weeks to make the transition process for me a little bit easier with everything going on my personal side of things. It's good to be back. It's good to feel clean shaven at the top of my head. Now we're ready to rock and roll. Big shouts, like I said, to I-95 Sports Network. Big shouts to my tag team partner over here. The axe to my smash of demolition. Yeah, there we go.
The hawk to your animal.
Yes, exactly. Yes, right. Exactly. As we close
right here.
Oh no, far from that. The object is to be better, not the same. Always be better, Hunter. And you're well on your way to that as well too. Big shouts to our super producer in the back who's not feeling so well, Mr. Bobby Blackjack up in New Jersey. Get better, my friend. Like I said, and things will work out for you as well too. Big shout outs to everybody who stopped through the chat. Yes, Tom. Listen, if you really think you want to do that, hit my inbox up. Big shout outs to Cortland, Scotty Khan at the chat for saying what's up. Kurt Valenti, K&K Sports, check out Kurt's show as well too. Adam Barber about the 3-0 pitch counts, and the lovely Precious for stopping through, as well as Cortland. Check out Cortland and myself's Wnba work on the 3pointconversion.com. The Hornets season's over, so guess what? I'm now switching to the WNBA now. Now it's my fun part of the year. You'll be seeing coverage from the Phoenix Mercury for myself. I'm not going to use his government name, but Mr. Controversy taking care of the Atlanta Dream. Cortland has the New York Liberty. Check out work also from the LA Sparks as well as the Connecticut Sun as we cover everything in all parts of the WNBA as well too. Yes, Scotty, go New York Giants. I'm hoping you're talking about the baseball team because the football team, they suck. All right.
Oh, Lord.
I'm home now. All right. So, for the Prodigy, yes, I've given you the Prodigy name, okay? I'll say this. I'll tell a quick story before I go. So, All-Star Weekend, Orlando, I want to say it was 2012. Hunter reminds me of the time I met Ricky Rubio All-Star Weekend. Really? Prodigy, finger on his ball in his finger. He's a prodigy. A guy knows everything that he has so much to give and so much to offer, but no one knows what he has. No one knows. And that's how I look at Hunter as Ricky Rubio, because everybody knew about Ricky Rubio, but no one really knew Ricky Rubio. And so I got a chance to get to know him during All-Star Weekend of 2012. And Hunter has a lot of that type of personality. Well, I'm telling you, the guy knows his stuff. Don't let the age fool you. Don't let the iPod ears fool you. The kid knows what he's talking about. Just because his background is like a college dorm, because it might be.
It is.
The kid knows his stuff. And then the kid said, don't let the age fool you. He does have a lot of basketball knowledge, and he's only going to get better. So like I said, he's the Rookie of the Year of the network. So I got to give his shout out. And Kyle's been learning sports for that.
Hey, listen, Home Slice knows rookie 90s basketball. I'm down. Let's do this.
Listen, I'm gonna jump on Hunter's show one of these days. We're gonna connect together, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna go in full depth about 90s basketball. We're gonna test his 90s basketball.
Let's do it. I'm game.
Scotty, who's my team? Do we really have to ask who my team is on the show, the NFL? It damn straight the Carolina Kittens, that's for sure.
Haha.
Bobby, let's check out. You know how we got to check out. Go. Bobby, Bobby.
Dude, he said he was. how you do that coming up with